So this video is going to be very short, and it's really just going to show you creating a very climactic kind of Lydian sound, very over the top climactic. But we're going to cover a few things like intentional use of dissonance, and by dissonance I mean anything outside of the 3-note triad, and some tactics I've learned over the years of how to interweave dissonance with non-dissonance, and using dissonance to create suspense by using non-chord thinking, tension release, but not really releasing very much, always introducing a new tension. That way by the time you do release, the listener has a sense of awe. So everybody knows the Lydian 1-2 over a pedal point. Very, very typical Hollywood thing. And you'll find this all over film scores, like stuff like maybe shifting out, going to a different Lydian center, but just still Lydian 1 and 2. We're still going to use Lydian 1 and 2, but we're going to do a few things different now. So with Lydian 1 and 2, you could actually stack them on top of each other, 1 and 2. And what you'll get is the 9, sharp 11, 13. Now the trick is to put a big wide-spaced voicing of the C chord down below and play the Lydian 1 and 2 up above, but keep the C chord down below, the static. You could call it D major over C major, or C 9, sharp 11, 13, whatever, it doesn't matter. But you could do stuff like this. Static below, but alternate between 1 and 2 above. So you're basically using just Lydian 1 in the low end. You could do various tricks with this. We're just going to keep it brief though. Lydian 1-2 alteration up high, steady Lydian 1 on the low end. Now in addition to that happening in the example we're going to play here in a second, we have this kind of, well, this isn't the exact line, but I have these kind of moving parts as well on top of this. Now I'm just kind of randomly improvising over the C chord using Lydian and just 2 notes above doing independent movement. So in addition to stacking the 2 chords, there's independence going on at the same time. So let's listen to it. Very short clip, okay? Because I want to concentrate on these elements we just talked about. Lydian 1 and 2 on top of each other, and then the voice independent kind of movement. It actually produces quite a bit of dissonance. So I only played partial aspect of the sequence, so that partial aspect, not the full thing, starts on a D flat Lydian major 7th. So anyway, from that D flat major 7th Lydian, goes to this F Lydian, but I start on the Lydian note there. What happened? Well, what happened is something I want to point out in this video, introducing a sudden dissonance that resolves, okay? But when that resolves, another dissonance is added. And this little process continues. Every time something resolves, another dissonance is added. Okay? And we kind of get this kind of somewhere in between that F Lydian sound, a little bit somewhere. It's not, we're never quite sure. Resolved. So by continuously adding a tension after you've resolved something, you don't feel like you're complete at all. You don't finally get that sense of awe until near the very end of that sequence, because there's always something that's going to a non-chord tone. Sense of awe. So if you really want a cadence that really begs to be resolved, have tension, but every time that resolves, introduce another tension. So now in the climactic area, we have this C over D, and one time it happens. Lydian 1 and 2. Then it just goes back to regular Lydian 1 and 2, just at once. So on top of it, I did a little non-static kind of movement where we're doing stuff like this. Even though there is parallel fifths, I see that. So there's a lot of minor second kind of intervals or inverted major seventh. So this occurs on top of the static harmony. I'll play the notes simultaneously together. I added that Lydian note in at the end just to show how it was clashing against the static harmony. All you really want to get out of this is to learn how to use tension and constant tension and introduction of more tension when something resolves creates a dramatic effect towards your cadence. This is a very old technique. It dates all the way back to people like Wagner, even farther back than that, actually. And then when you finally get on that Lydian 1-2 thing, you could actually stack those two chords on top of each other. But as it starts to back off, that stacking happens less. And then you could also have independent voice lines. So it makes it for it. So even on a part that sounds very climactic, there's still quite a bit of dissonance happening with notes clashing against each other. And that's something I actually purposely exploit a lot of the times until we're ready to resolve something completely to a very simple chord and give the listener a sense of awe. As in we finally arrived at something that's a destination, whatever. It doesn't matter. There's a sense of relief. With those concepts in mind, I'm going to go ahead and replay it, and I'll see you next time.